Data-driven marketing is vital to connecting to consumers today, but when does it get too close for comfort? Hi, I'm Courtney Eckerle, Managing Editor of MarketingSherpa, here at the DMA's annual event And Then, and sitting with me is Nyswander Thomas, who's the Executive Director of the Data-Driven Marketing Institute. Welcome.
Thank you, I'm delighted to be here.
So just to start off, tell us, what is the value of data-driven marketing, not only to businesses and the economy, but to consumers themselves?
Sure, well I think the good news is more and more today, consumers sort of implicitly have a sense that data goes out into the world and then that they're getting personalization and content and all sorts of good things back in terms of value, but we thought it was important to actually quantify. So some very smart folks at Harvard Business School and Columbia University, we basically went to them and said, we need you to figure out a way to quantify the economics of everything that data-driven marketers are doing across this entire, very vast and varied ecosystem. So they went off and did that for about 6 months and came back and said, way back in 2013, it was $156 billion brought to the US economy every year just by the flows of data that drive marketing. That doesn't even speak to the returns on marketing campaigns or what consumers get at the end of the day. It's just the data that flows across the industry that makes this economy possible.
Great. And so now we have that value, but it's also a pretty tenuous balancing act between using it for value and encroaching on people's privacy.
Well, I'm not sure I'd say it's a tenuous balance, because I think the good news is this is a really long-standing industry, right? I mean, a lot of industries are just sort of starting to be aware of the data that they have and how to use it and how not to use it. Data-driven marketing has existed for 100 years. I mean, even longer, since the first Sears catalog. They decide to send it to one person out on the frontier and not another, right? So how to use data and what is going to make consumers comfortable as opposed to a little creeped out is nothing new to data-driven marketers. We're just getting faster and better and smarter and more successful in actually personalizing things in a way that's going to delight the consumer instead of concern them. So I think the technology is actually making it a lot easier to avoid that creepy factor over time than spray and pray marketing or the sort of more blunt personalization that used to happen in the past. So I think bottom line, the opportunity to show value to consumers as a way to gain their trust, keep their trust, and really have a lifelong customer has never been greater.
So it's about surprising and delighting customers.
Exactly.
And the place where you have to be careful is just when you get a new ability to ask yourself, how will my consumer view this and how will it appear to them?
Right. And a term that we use in Washington a lot is self-regulation. And are you going to have the Federal Trade Commission or some member of Congress regulating you, or is industry going to self-regulate? And DMA has had an ethical code that we've held marketers to a pretty high standard, enforceable for 60 years now. So that's a really important infrastructure to making sure that we're all acting responsibly as an industry. But at the same time, companies self-regulate on a daily basis when they have a new ability and they go out with that new product or service or feature, and they see what the response is. And then those micro adjustments, they adjust accordingly. That's self-regulation, and that sort of back and forth conversation with the customer is really where you get to the delight and not the disappoint.
So you've talked about this as a kind of constantly evolving ecosystem. So what are the trends? What will it look like in 5 years?
It's a great question. So the very smart professors that I mentioned earlier, Peter Johnson and John Dayton, came back to us with this first value of data study 2 years ago, and they quantified the economy, but we also asked them to look forward and sort of predict. And one of the things that they said 2 years ago was the rise of the data-driven consumer is going to absolutely fundamentally shift, and already is in many ways shifting, how we work as data-driven marketers. It is leveling the playing field and really shifting the game in a lot of ways when your expectation and your customer is that they will have data upon which to make make their own decisions, they expect all the more that you will be using what you know about them to correctly target them and personalize and delight, but also that they want to engage with you a lot more, which again is a great opportunity for marketers, that consumers don't just want to take what you're offering, they want to help you shape the right thing for them. So we've never had a greater opportunity to have a really robust back and forth. And I'm excited to tell you that we are also working on some additional research, an update to that 2013 study. If it was a $156 billion economy 2 years ago, what does it look like today? And going beyond that, what is that spend when marketers take that data and create amazing marketing campaigns and delight the consumers? So folks should stay tuned at the start of 2016 for a lot more interesting research and insights about where we're going next as an industry.
Okay, great. Rachel, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
It's a pleasure.
And if you would like to see more videos and interviews, please visit MarketingSherpa.com/DMA.